Where's my sister?
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. And now it begins.
No. Now it ends.
Since the start of the series, the Kingsguard has kind of been a joke. Jaime stabbed the old king and then slept with the new king's wife. A lot. Sandor Clegane bailed from the Battle of Blackwater.
Fuck the Kingsguard. Fuck the king.
Meryn Trant was a disgusting child abuser. And blue-faced Gregor Clegane's creeping the pants off of everyone. But this used to be the most honorable order in Westeros. Even Joffrey seems to think they pale in comparison to the old days.
Sir Duncan de Tor. 4 pages for Sir Duncan. Must have been quite a man.
So they say.
Sir Jaime Lannister. Someone forgot to write down all your great deeds.
There's still time.
Is there? For a 40-year-old knight with one hand?
In this episode, we get a glimpse of the badasses that were the Kingsguard when the Targaryens were kings. That two-handed sword wielder was Sir Arthur Dayne, the same one that Joffrey mentioned. He was one of the greatest knights that ever lived, and the man who knighted Jaime Lannister. He was also fiercely loyal both to Rhaegar Targaryen and to his duty to protect the Crown Prince at all costs.
And when Rhaegar and his family died, there was no Crown Prince. Or was there? We discussed last season the theory that Rhaegar took multiple wives like his ancestor, Aegon the Conqueror, marrying Lyanna Stark in secret since his first wife, Oberyn's sister, could no longer have kids. That would make the crying baby in that tower the heir to the Iron Throne.
We know him as Jon Snow, but perhaps his name is Jon Targaryen. Clearly, there's more to the story that we shall soon see, but what we have seen is enough to suggest that fans have been right all along, and Lyanna wasn't raped by Rhaegar. Instead, she broke her oath to marry Robert Baratheon and ran off to marry Rhaegar, and that's why she's being guarded by the Kingsguard, because she is giving birth to the boy who should be the future king of Westeros.
So Lyanna broke an oath, and as you'd expect, an episode titled Oathbreaker is full of similar shattered promises. Take Arya, who confessed to dropping the Hound off of her revenge list, as sacred a vow as she's ever liked to make.
Arya Stark left him to die. He was on her list. He was not on her list anymore.
Or Daenerys, whose wedding vows required her to join the Dosh Khaleen when her husband died, but she chose to go run off and try to save the world instead.
And Sam, who made a promise that Gilly reminds him of.
Wherever you go, I go too. That's what you said.
But Sam has a good reason for sending her to Horn Hill while he hits the books. In fact, all the Oathbreakers mentioned so far arguably had very good and fair reasons for breaking their promises, but not everyone in this episode did.
Take this monster who brings poor Rickon Stark to Ramsay Bolton, taking the time to kill his wolf Shaggy Dog in the process. That is Smalljon Umber, the son of a man named Greatjon, a man you probably remember from Season 2.
There sits the only king I mean to bend my knee to. The King of the North!
Greatjon died at the Red Wedding, but his family made a solemn vow to support the Starks and Robb's bid to be King of the North. With Robb being dead and Bran being presumed dead, that means Rickon is next in line. Instead of doing what his family was sworn to do and fight to put Rickon on the throne, Smalljon is handing him over to the biggest sadist in Westeros.
Welcome home, Lord Stark.
At the Wall, 4 Oathbreakers got the sentence custom demanded for stabbing Jon Snow to nearly permanent death. Thorne and Ollie seem sure they had the right of it, but I don't think many of us would agree. And what of Jon? He hands command of whatever's left of the Night's Watch to Ed, which is sort of like stripping your car for parts before handing over the keys. But is Jon the Oathbreaker of the show's title? Remember Jon's vows.
Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death.
Well, Jon died, and now his watch is ended.
My watch is ended.
He's got bigger fish to fry, particularly since Ramsay traded one of his half-siblings for another.
Jon didn't used to be the kind of guy to obey the letter of the law while abandoning the spirit of it.
I did what I thought was right.
This is the first sign we've got that death has changed him. Will Jon 2.0 be less dutiful and more impulsive? Will he be like his mother, choosing to do what's in his heart instead of what society tells him to do?
Maybe we'll find out next week on House Slate.